A day after a very emotional hearing up on Capitol Hill on the deadly Benghazi consulate attack, the House Speaker John Boehner is accusing the Obama administration of stonewalling, while the Secretary of State John Kerry, he is pledging answers. Joining us now, our Chief National Correspondent John King, our Chief Political Analyst Gloria Borger, and the Senior Correspondent for Time Magazine, our sister publication, Michael Crowley. Guys, thanks very much for coming in. How much pressure is the White House under, Gloria, right now to deliver some answers?
Well, I think they're under more pressure today than they were a couple of days ago. Look, you had a very compelling witness, Wolf, at that hearing yesterday, somebody who'd been a career Foreign Service officer for 22 years, describing the desolation and the sort of sense of being abandoned by his government the night of that attack, giving on-the-ground details about the support that they asked for and couldn't get for whatever reason. So this hearing with a credible witness served the purpose of raising a lot of questions, stirring the pot, which is what the Republicans really wanted to do, stirring the pot so that the administration is now being called upon to answer more questions about what occurred that night. Look, they've already admitted that there were systemic failures there. The question that Republicans want answered is, okay, we know there were systemic failures, but was there an actual cover-up? And that's the point they're trying to get to.
Sometimes the cover-up is worse than the actual crime, if in fact there was a crime or an oversight or a mistake. John, you have a good piece on CNN.com. Among other things, you write, tough legitimate congressional oversight or partisan politics, with a question mark. Leading Republicans say the former, most Democrats the latter. Truth is, it is both. So what's going on?
And that presents a challenge for both parties. To Gloria's point, there are legitimate questions. What happened? Why were those locations so insecure? What were the communications with the State Department and the White House? Why did Susan Rice say something on television the Sunday after that nobody thought was anywhere close to the truth or accurate? The administration, there are legitimate role for oversight of the administration, which has given conflicting and confusing accounts at times. So any congressional committee controlled by Democrats or Republicans has the right to ask those questions. And if the White House just says it's just politics, well, that's the wrong answer. But Republicans have to be careful too, Wolf, because at the one time, the leaders of this investigation are saying, we will go where the facts take us. We have no predispositions. But then some of them have already on record saying there's a cover-up. Just today, John Bolton, the former UN ambassador in the George W. Bush administration, is on an email distributed by the National Republican Congressional Committee saying, aha, we've learned some things at these hearings, send money. And if you click on that link, it says Benghazi was a cover-up and shows President Obama and then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. So you can't on the one hand say, we're open-minded, this is a fair and thorough investigation, and then in the middle of it, keep trying to raise money and play politics with it.
You know, Michael, that a lot of the subtext, if you will, is that this is an opportunity to go after Hillary Clinton. It was on her watch that all of this happened. She was the Secretary of State. She may want to run for president in 2016. This is a good way right now to sort of beat her up a bit.
Well, absolutely. She had what I think was generally seen as a quite successful tenure as Secretary of State. Now, some people would say, what were her big landmark accomplishments? And I think that's a fair question to ask and a conversation you can have. But the reality, the political reality of it, is that her approval ratings are as high as they've been in her career in public life. And Republicans don't have that many angles of attack. And this is really the one vulnerability in her record. To me, it's not clear that they've really established that she really fell down on the job or has done something terribly wrong. But I think that they see a chink in the armor and they're just going to drill into it as deep as they can. I have to wonder if Americans to some degree aren't saying, though, why are we still talking about this? It happened a long time ago. Not that much new information coming out. So I think from her perspective, so far, I think she's getting off pretty well.
You know, by and large, though, at the hearings yesterday, I think they were pretty careful. There were a couple of members that weren't, but pretty careful to kind of pull back from attacking Hillary, because what they wanted to do was make this a question about at least right now, the Obama administration, whether there was a cover-up, and keep it there for right now, rather than making it so blatantly political, and attacking Hillary Clinton would be about 2016.
Although at the hearing, yes, online, on Twitter, other outlets, people going much harder. But I do think the more substantive questions have to do with what the president was saying.
Exactly.
That's more interesting to me.
And remember, two challenges for Secretary Clinton if she decides to run. Number one is Democrats. This will not hurt her among Democrats who are very loyal with her. The question is, does she think, enjoying her high popularity, this is proof I'm going to get bruised up again? But I like that. But a lot of Democrats, Paul Begala among them, say, remember Iran-Contra? Everyone said George H.W. Bush was the vice president after this in the middle. He was not telling the truth when he said he wasn't in the loop. group. Democrats tried to use that against him in 1988. He was the last vice president to succeed, an 8-year administration to keep it in the same party. So a lot of Democrats say if you look at the history of politics, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, my own feeling is that 4 Americans are dead. We got to learn the lessons to make sure it doesn't happen again. Whatever mistakes were made, we got to fix those to avoid these kinds of deaths down the road. Guys, thanks very much.